Pandora will shit you out dead with zero warning.
Well, hi, Tim. How are you?
Hi. I'm great. How are you?
Hanging in there, just recovering from the Christmas break. It's good to be back in the podcast,
Yeah.
Allie.
Yeah, all dried out and ready to go.
We had an Unreliable Narrator get-together in between Christmas and New Year, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a blast, and it was definitely not dry.
It was not dry. Right now is dry, and that was the last big splash, I guess we could call it.
Oh, yeah.
There was a night of live theater and 5 bottles of wine.
Yeah, debauchery.
The wives were there. They had fun. I don't know. I had a blast. We're going to have to do this maybe a little more frequently, but definitely as much as possible. Unreliable Narrator. You never know where we're going to pop up. We might do like what do they call those pop-up markets?
Pop-up, yeah.
Yeah, we could do
it's a little difficult doing the in-person thing when we're all so far away from each other, but could be worse. Nobody's in India, so.
That's right. Not yet. But I guess we've watched a movie that everyone else has watched, and we might as well just start in on it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the magical Avatar. Now,
Do we want to go straight to Avatar, or do we want to hit a primer movie first?
What would you suggest for a primer movie?
Well, we could talk about the menu.
Okay, so you watched the menu. I watched the menu.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Loved it. I thought about that movie for 3 or 4 days after I watched it. Especially the ending. I don't know why, but it just stuck with me.
Well,
I don't know. We don't have to spoil the whole thing on that one. We're going to spoil the shit out of Avatar, but
yeah, I won't spoil the menu either. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good watch in our house. Liz and I both really had a good time watching it. And the only thing I will say is that after this month or so of cleanliness, clean living, clean eating, and all that, there's a meal in there that I'm definitely going to use to end this whole period. Yeah.
Well,
but it was good. I watched another one that was kind of similar to it called Triangle of Sadness. I sent you the Blu-ray cover. Yeah. And it was along the same lines. I think if you like the menu, you'll definitely see similar stuff with Triangle of Sadness, hopefully. I really liked it too. The only person I know in it or knew of previously is Woody Harrelson. And it's a little bit longer. It has a pretty long runtime, but it's kind of like one of those ones that when you stick it out, it really pays off. I thought it was great. Yeah, they were fun watches. I mean, are you a Ralph Fiennes fan?
I'm not sure who Ralph Fiennes is for sure.
He was in the menu. You know him from the menu.
Yes, but I didn't look up the cast or anything. And I didn't watch No.
So, okay, he was Voldemort in Harry Potter, if you watch that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Same guy. I can't remember.
Well, if you would have said that, then I would have known right away who he was.
Well, he looks a lot different when he doesn't have a nose, I guess.
That's right.
He has been kind of I always think of him as he gets appreciated. He's been up for Oscars before. I think he maybe won one. I've seen a lot of his movies, and he's usually really good. He's a great actor. There's one that I really like in particular called Strange Days. Have you ever seen Strange Days?
Quite some time ago.
No, that was the one. It's set kind of in a near future, and he's kind of like a drug dealer. And instead of dealing like drugs that you smoke or whatever, he deals out these little memory sets, and you can experience other people's experiences. If you want to go and have weird sex that someone's had, you can go do that. Or if you want to rob a bank or go skydiving or whatever, you could do it, and you could just be sitting in a chair just. He was in that one. I think that's a really underrated movie. And coincidentally, that movie was produced by our main man, the great JC, who we're going to talk about his new movie tonight. And he invented some camera stuff for that movie in a similar fashion to he did for these other movies that he's doing recently. Anyway, Ray Fiennes, great
Voldemort.
guy. Yeah. And if you ever want to see another one of his that I really like, there's In Bruges. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of In Bruges.
No, haven't heard
It's
of that
good.
one.
It's fun. It's a kind of a hitman movie.
Mm.
And one guy takes another hitman to the city Bruges in, I believe, Belgium to go and kill him because he's done something bad. And he's just trying to have a nice time. It's kind of like a Lake Louise or a Banff kind of town, right? So he's going to take him there, show him a nice time, and then off him.
Oh yeah,
And then it all goes a little bit
that would be the way to
sideways.
go out, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The resort town.
So, I don't know. We got a little bit off track there. The menu. Loved it.
You know what I noticed
Don't want to spoil
about
it.
the menu? Well, first of all, I loved the acting in that movie, but there was clever twists. And I really appreciate any movie or any story with clever twists. I'm not much of a fan of unclever twists, which is the next movie we're going to talk about. But anyway, not only that, it addresses
Oh, no.
I think what a lot of people subconsciously right now are feeling, basically fuck rich people. And it really goes after them. Because right
Similar
now,
to.
well, similar to Triangle of Sadness, sounds like it's similar
Yep.
in that
Yep.
way. And The Glass Onion. There's
I
no
haven't
normal
watched that
people.
yet.
There's no normal people in that show either. You know, with all these troubles in the world, and are any of us ever going to go to the most expensive restaurant on earth? Not a chance, right? And if we did, they'd look down on us so hard that we wouldn't want to be there. So, speaking of which, it just closed recently, the most expensive restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but it was just in the news the other day. Did you hear about that one? It's an actual
No.
restaurant that closed.
Where was it?
Drawing a blank. Overseas, in Europe somewhere. Oh, Noma, rated the world's best restaurant, is closing its doors. Copenhagen chef.
Denmark.
Yeah.
Really? I've been to a few fancy restaurants. Like I was at one that was like it was a small fortune for two of us to eat there. I couldn't afford to buy any of the bottles of wine. If we would have had the night that we had at that live theater event, I would have lost my house and probably some of yours.
Well, I was in Mexico to one really fancy restaurant. We had a bunch of coupons, so the ladies thought that we should go to this fancy restaurant, and that was fine. But it was shockingly expensive, and if we hadn't had those gift certificates, there's no chance. A bottle of water, which we didn't realize was going to cost $15, got brought to our table, so that we drank $15 water, and that was just the start. And we had no idea until Bill got there that the water was even being charged for. I remember eating some sort of a beef dish which had chocolate in it, which seemed edible, but not spectacular. It was an interesting night. We were definitely underdressed as well.
Yeah, that's the risk. I know that there's this whole other world out there where these ultra rich people are doing stuff, and it doesn't really bother me. I guess it bothers some people that others are insanely rich. I've had conversations with a couple of my other friends, and I knew someone who did get insanely rich, but I don't begrudge that guy anything like that. It's interesting because I'm writing a story along similar lines right now, where it's kind of like an eat the rich kind of story. But
Oh yeah.
I've noticed a trend. I think in 2022, there's a couple of trends that I saw over all the movies that I watched. One of them is that if you're doing a horror movie in 2022, you have to have a hag, an evil old hag. There was I think I saw 3 movies that were like hag based horror movies in 2022.
Hag based. I think I worked through a couple situations like that as well.
Yeah. There was it was 2022 in this house. We call it Year of the Hag because we just saw so many movies where there was just an evil hag. And then the other thing I noticed is that there were a lot of these kind of socially conscious, eat the rich kind of stories. That was kind of a thread that ran through. And I don't know. I think I think a lot of times it just seems like there's I don't know why so many movies all came out kind of about the same thing, but they did. You've seen two of them, or I think
Hmm.
you've seen two of them, and I've seen a different two, and one of them is the same. I guess that would be The Menu. You haven't seen Triangle of Sadness, and I haven't seen
No,
Glass Onion.
it goes after the rich billionaire and how he's not really all that special or smart as everybody thinks he is. He just happens to be able to pull it off because he's so rich. It's kind of like an Elon Musk target. It
The
feels like.
thing, so like the thing I find interesting about all these movies is that okay, you have Glass Onion, which is made by Ryan Johnson. And I'm pretty sure that that guy has an amount of money sitting in his bank account that I would find obscene and I would
Oh,
have
you went
trouble
missing.
spending. So it's just like a weird message to me. Like it's one that I do enjoy from time to time, but you might get to the point where I'm like, okay, this is preachy. And so far, the two that I've seen, The Menu and Triangle of Sadness, were able to do this without coming across as overly preachy. But I think
Oh
if I
yeah.
start to see more of these movies, it's just going to start to feel like I'm being preached to. And I think I tune it out.
Well, I think from the menu, and this shouldn't give away any spoilers. Part of the underlying message is service people are underappreciated, and people that are entitled are the ones that are going to hate the most. Is that a
Yeah.
fair message to gather out of it?
Somewhat. Yeah, I would say. I would say there's definitely that theme in there.
And I don't think that the current generation is gonna that's gonna wear that kind of a message is gonna ever wear off for them because, for instance, our children are all gonna be working in the service industry to these kind of people potentially, unless they manage to pull a rabbit out of their hat and become rich and famous. So they're gonna feel that this is right on the mark. That whole idea. Yep, just putting down Elon Musk while I rely on his internet to do this podcast.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm like I said. I'm not so quick. And I think when these kind of people stick their necks out and do stupid shit or say stupid shit, it kind of leaves them open for. At the end of the day, we're all just people. The one guy that I know who got insanely rich, I knew him before he was insanely rich, and he was just a regular old guy who had a good idea, and I didn't understand it, and it took off. I don't know what he's up to now. He could be a ripping asshole for all I know. I wouldn't know. I don't talk to him anymore, but it didn't seem like he was that guy before. I don't know. They're just people, is what I'm saying. And I think with anything, I think of it like, you hear these stories of, we're Canadian guys. So you hear the story of some hockey player who, 19 years old, he goes into a bar and spits in a woman's face or something like this just because he's like, I can't be touched. I'm the best guy ever. And they can just do whatever they want, right? I think that same sort of thing happens. There's no one around to tell these people, like, the old stoic thing: you're human, you're not a god, you're going to die just the same as
Yep.
everybody else, and you should live your life, as a decent person. It just isn't really happening with some of these guys. They just don't seem to give a shit. So I guess if you're going to act stupid in public and say stupid shit, you're going to get what's coming. Like, people are going to get
Yeah,
mad. But
maybe you're going to end up part of the menu. Who knows?
yeah. And at the same time, it's like you said, like, yeah, everyone's still using all this stuff and buying all this zippy cars and all that stuff. So what do you do? One day we're all going to be like going on moon vacations in his rockets too. So,
Yep, in a large
but
dick-shaped ship.
is it dick shaped?
I don't know. That's his competition, maybe.
Everything's dick shaped if you try hard enough. So
So what's
speaking of
next on our
insanely,
menu in
on our
this triangle
menu,
of sadness? Yeah.
well, we're going to open up Pandora's box
Okay.
and we're going to eat some alien food. And we're going to talk about a movie called, okay, so the movie's Avatar. We're going to talk, just shit the bed entirely. What else is new?
Why don't we talk
Well, we're
about
going to talk
Avatar?
about,
Well, let's talk about Avatar 1 first.
okay,
Briefly talk about Avatar 1. It was basically Fern Gully in space. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Fern Gully. In Fern Gully, it's a cartoon, children's cartoon, where a young white guy is working for a company chopping down trees in some big forest, right? And he draws an X on every tree. He magically gets changed into a little fairy. So he's an entirely different race of person. Well, and they all think that he's one of them. And, then he basically falls in love, realizes that the evil bad guys want to chop down the mother tree that, they all need to survive. So then he goes back to fight the bad guys who all come in with their chopping, fancy tree cutting machines, and the evil bad guy and him have a big showdown, and in the end he wins and he's a fairy forever after or whatever. Fern Gully. Then later somebody stole that idea, like wholesale, and took it to another planet and reinvigorated it. So the white guy gets turned into a fairy, and then, he has to fight to defend the mother tree. The evil machines are coming to cut the tree down. There's a big showdown. It's Fern Gully.
So I did not have a point of reference for Fern Gully until I saw the first Avatar movie. And that's when I heard all these Fern Gully references, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. So when I saw Avatar, it kind of reminded me of other things. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Dances with Wolves. It kind of reminded me of Last of the Mohicans. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No, I haven't seen that one.
You should.
I did see Dance with Wolves. Apparently it's similar to Pocahontas, which I did not watch.
I have seen Pocahontas. It's kind of, I think there are parallels there. But overall, my experience with the first Avatar movie was I really liked it. I liked, even if it was kind of derivative from other things, there's lots of other movies that I like that are kind of picked from and borrowed and stolen from other stuff. But I saw it the opening day at an IMAX theater with the 3D glasses on. And I was with my friends, Dave, who was going to come on and talk to us. One day we'll get him. My friend Randy, some other guys, and my kid. My oldest kid was there with me. And there was a couple parts that I saw in that movie where it really felt like you were standing in like one of the ships, or you were standing in, or you were in the cockpit of the mech thing that the guy was running around in. And it felt really cool. Like it felt like an alien world and stuff like this. There was enough originality in there, I thought, that you could kind of get by and believe what they wanted you to believe. And I saw it 3 times in the theater. I thought it was worthy of a spectacle, right? However, as time went by, the real test of a movie is how many times do I rewatch it? Mm-hmm. And the movies that I really love, Apocalypse Now, Superman, Empire Strikes Back, I tend to go back and watch those frequently.
Yeah, Army of Darkness, the original one with Bruce Campbell, not the newer one.
Army of Darkness, I watch that frequently. I watch a lot. There's a movie I watch called Until the End of the World. It's one of my favorite movies. I watch that. Even though it's 5 hours long, I watch that quite frequently.
Apparently, lots of people will rewatch over and over Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one.
I do like that one. I've seen that multiple times. That's a good rewatch. Godfather is another one I could rewatch quite a bit. But I've had zero desire to ever watch that. I have the Blu-ray for it. I could give a shit if I ever pop that in my player ever again. And it got me thinking, like, I don't know that the movie, it's got some sort of weird spell over people, I think, that it just didn't have over me, because I've never really watched it, and I've never met anyone who's like an Avatar nut. I've never met anyone who's just like...
It has enough original things about it, with the set design and the characters, irregardless of the plot, which is totally stolen. But the other parts of it are original enough that you'd think there'd be people cosplaying it and stuff all the time, and if they really loved it, right? Which I don't think, in general, I haven't seen a lot of that. Maybe there will be this year, right? For a little while. But I feel like this next one's going to fizzle out the same as that one did in a way. Yeah. I had a similar reaction to it. I really liked it when it first came out, even though I was really annoyed by the plot theft. I don't like plot theft. I mean, at least change something drastically. Well, other than just take them to another planet.
you're on to something there that I want to talk about, I guess, when we get into the discussing the new movie. So what you're telling me though is that you didn't dress up to go see this movie theater or a
Nope.
movie in the theater. You didn't dress up.
No,
I was the only one because I was
I
the only
guess so.
one in my theater. And the hard part is like I didn't want to get all that blue makeup on at my house, so I had to blue myself at the theater. And everyone was looking at me funny,
Oh.
watching me blue myself in the lobby of this theater before I went in. No, I didn't do that. I just wanted to make a
I thought maybe you do that every time you watch Blue's Clues. Who knows?
no.
Uh,
I've never blew myself. Avatar, the legacy of it, I guess, is just one of, to me, it's like an empty, hollow box office number that made all this money and it touched nobody's hearts really. And this sequel came along, and I was kind of excited to go see it because I wanted to see if they kind of did something different and did something new, because James Cameron usually does, and he did. I'm going to say he did do something new for this one, but it was all technical and none of it was story wise.
yeah,
We're gonna
that's the thing. Well, let's get right into the plot, and that's my big problem with this movie. Do we need to do a spoiler alert?
Well, I don't think my spoiler alert button works. So we are going to do a spoiler alert. This is where it's going, Tim. And I'm going to put it in later because I have the power.
But if not, if
Spoiler alert right
somehow you
now.
miss it, we're saying the word spoiler alert, so that's also a spoiler alert. That there
It's
you
spoilery,
could,
right? We're in
you know,
spoilers.
this is one of those plots where if you find out a thing about it, it'll be totally ruined forever for you. I mean, it's so tight, this plot. I mean,
Okay.
not really. Okay, so let's start near the beginning where their family knows the Sully family's being hunted down, right?
Mhm.
So they know somebody's after them in specific, right? So they think, well, they're gonna attack everybody and kill everybody, and we need to get out of here to protect everybody else. So we're just gonna leave. But we're not gonna tell our enemies that we left. We're just gonna leave, so they really have no choice but to kill everybody anyway. So really, we're just doing the stupidest thing ever because we're just abandoning our friends here at this big tree, and we're gonna leave and they can die. First plot flaw. Like, that's stupid.
Mhm.
If you just leave and nobody knows you left, they're just going to keep trying to kill you where you were at. There's no reason for them to stop. So I'm sure that all those people are now dead. That would be what would be the eventuality if there was any logic to this plot. Right?
Yeah. So, okay, the beginning of this movie, I got about 2 minutes in and I already knew it was fucked. Because the first thing they do is they commit the cardinal sin of any sort of movie is that they say when you're writing a movie, show don't tell. And the
Oh,
first
yeah.
thing this movie does is tell you a bunch of shit. So you're sitting there and you're just, all this information's hitting you. There's a new kid, his name's Spider. He's a little human
Oh,
boy.
yeah.
Someone, that bad guy fucked somebody there and left that kid there. Who was she? We don't know. She's gone too. She was just like, you know what? I'm not going to stay here with my kid. Fuck him. And she just left. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden now he's hanging out with the cool Sully family and the cool scientist guys and all that stuff. That's nice. Anyway, you get that. Then you get, well, here we get a little montage where they shows them hunting and all that stuff, and then you get they tell you, well, I just, the language is just so ingrained in me now. I just hear it like it's English, no big deal. And so they
Mhm.
tell you that. Then they tell you all about how the bad guy just kind of materializes again. All this movie is just telling you stuff, showing you what they're telling you, like after they already tell it to you,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone, I can't fucking tell you how many times in this movie someone explains something and then you just get to see it afterwards. This movie could have been 2 hours long and really kind of entertaining if they just would have stopped fucking telling you stuff. It just never
Yeah.
ended.
Well, I guess with them running away, same thing. They had to tell us a big story about how they were running away, a big story about how he's handing the leadership over to that other guy. They could have just left and it would have been more realistic. But it was a big plan of how they did this and everything else.
So Jake Sully, Father of the Year, his solution to all of his problems. So he's the only guy who really knows. He's hanging out with the Na'vi now. He's fully Na'vi, and he knows what humanity is capable of. And so the one thing that we do see is that it's 100 and some 50 years later, and we give even less of a shit about everything then than we do now. Like, oh my God, dude. Could this not have been a bleaker outlook on the future of humanity? I don't think that we're really that bad. Like, I think we're still striving to get better. But if we showed up in another world and just were like, hey, man, these engines are going to burn down fucking 1 million square kilometers of forest on this place.
Yeah.
Should we do it? And someone would still go, yeah, fucking hit that button. Let's go. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that scene and I was just like, holy shit, dude. Come on, man. Like,
Yeah, I know. Well, how about later on, the scientist who's supposedly, not that terrible of a guy, is like, yeah, these whales are super intelligent, but we're just going to drain their brains and, make drugs out of them. Fuck the whales.
well, that guy seems like he's just along for the ride, and I like that actor too, Jermaine
I
Clement.
know.
He's been
But
in
you know
some
what I
really
mean?
good
Like,
stuff.
if you participate in the evil, then you're part of the evil, right?
Yeah, he's just like fucking. I'm here for this
I
paycheck,
mean,
watching all these atrocities.
yeah,
Where's my life jacket?
without scientists, you wouldn't have any of those cool toys, right? So
Yeah.
there was some
So
really cool things about this movie that scientists would have been responsible for, right? Like their various, all the stuff that they had there to go whale hunting with, for instance, fancy tools, the very fact that they could clone Navi bodies and stick human minds in them, all that stuff. Pretty cool.
yeah, that whole part of it is just got kind of dished out. Like I don't even think there's a whole lot of. I think you might see a couple of the scientists from the first movie. They might have their avatars briefly for a scene or two. But then the whole concept and the whole reason it's called Avatar is just kind of fucking tossed to the wind, and you never hear
Yeah.
or see that concept ever again. So the big conceit of this movie is they found a way to bring back probably one of the best things about Avatar 1 was Stephen Lang's, I don't want to say Quidditch, because I think that's the little ball in Harry Potter.
It is, yeah.
Quaritch? Quaritch? Is that his name? He's the bad guy anyway. So they bring him
Yeah.
back, and now he's a Navi. It's not even him. It's like a version of his consciousness that's been saved prior to his death in the first movie. So they've downloaded him in there, and they found a way to, I guess if you're a human, okay, I just thought of something else that just doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. So I guess if you're a human in the year, whatever the fuck, 150 years from now, you can download your conscience into a cooler, better, stronger, bluer body.
They didn't actually
But for
show
some
how they do
reason,
this downloading thing works. They just showed him talking to a camera, right? Explaining to his new self what the download was all about.
mhm.
Part of that
but
explaining.
but they didn't explain it. But it's possible. Like it's
Yeah.
possible enough that they easily did it, and they did it
It
multiple times over because they just
It's
loaded
probably
all
just
those
like
other
in the
Marines.
sixth day, where Arnold Schwarzenegger, all you had to do was lean down and look in the thing, and it would scan your eyes, and you're done, right? And then you
Yeah,
could just flash
but weren't
clone up a
those
new body.
other? So weren't those other assholes, like there was the guy with the fucking sunglasses and the one that chewed the gum?
Yeah,
Weren't they
they were
all dead
multiple
soldiers
copies.
too?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
multiple copies. Yeah, so they were all
Okay.
corrupted. Now we're talking about Sixth Day, not Avatar. But yeah,
So it's easy enough to do that you can do it on
on the go,
anybody. Now,
and you're gonna
now
waste
you
that.
tell me,
Yeah,
if you can do that, why would you need to drill into a whale's brain to get the whale adrenochrome out so that you could live like way longer? You could just infinitely download
yeah.
yourself in there and just not kill whales.
Well, and the other thing about the whole thing is they say, well, Earth is screwed and we need a new Earth, basically. We need your stuff. We're coming to take all of this planet because we have nothing left. But we
Okay,
have all
that's
the resources to
fabulous.
build spaceships to cross across an immense distance, right? with everybody put in stasis. We have all this technology. We have the ability to create whale hunting ships, whale hunting tools, whale hunting harpoons. We can build all that stuff on Earth and ship it over there. But we're so desperately poor that we need all your stuff. And
Mhm.
like you said, people suck so bad that they would just do it without even questioning it.
Yeah, you've really sparked my imagination now. The shit is gonna fly. So I want to know now, how bad did we fuck Mars in 150 years that we can't even hang out there? We skipped Mars and now we're in another galaxy or something like this, wherever Pandora is. So okay,
Yeah, you
we've
could take
got
the resources that it would take you to get to Pandora and just build paradise on Mars. You would have enough stuff. You would have to.
yeah. I
And you
imagine that
could
there's minerals and we know there's
you could
water there. And
yeah, you could clone up yourself a bunch of Martian bodies and you know,
the air on
away you
Mars is
go.
also not breathable, just the same as Pandora. It wouldn't be much of a stretch. The gravity's similar to ours. There aren't, to the best of my knowledge, fanged beasts with 6 limbs that are going to tear you to fucking pieces if you're just running around in the jungle chewing gum. I think the conceit of this movie is extremely flawed, and I think the second sequel kind of pushes, or the sequel pushes anything that was good about the first one just out, and it's almost a parody of itself. Okay, so Jake Sully takes his family and he goes off to hang out with the
Surfers.
guys who live. I can't remember what their tribe's called.
Let's just call them the Surfer Tribe.
Yeah, okay, so they're with the Surfer tribe. Yeah, they're basically indigenous Polynesian Navi.
Yeah.
Like, so they have the same traits. They have the facial tattoos. They have the kind of like the haka thing where they stick their tongue out and everything like this. And I don't know too much about that stuff, but I just know that was familiar enough through other movies that I was able to kind of pick up on, right? And I think that was kind of I know they shot this in New Zealand, so maybe there was like some of that kind of like worked in there as a deal or something like that. But they went with the theme from the first movie because I really feel like the Na'vi are just kind of a carbon copy of the North American indigenous people,
Yeah.
and why not have a carbon copy of the Polynesian indigenous
And I
people? I
believe
guess.
JC has admitted that he's based them on the original Native Americans. So,
Yeah,
and
and
which is a big sticking point right now. The indigenous people, a lot of them are really not happy about this movie, and I don't blame them.
now hold the phone because I saw there was an article that you sent me, and I read that article, and it was someone flipping out about James Cameron representing Indigenous people in this
Yeah,
movie. And
cultural appropriation, right?
okay, I agree to a point, but I think that the way that article, I could see that person's point, but I think that when you get into that territory, that person's argument is presented in the worst way possible because
Mm-hmm.
I live in a community with a lot of indigenous people. And when I went to see this movie, there were a lot of families in there that they were indigenous people and they loved it. And someone I work with came up to me, an indigenous person, and told me that she absolutely loved it too. She saw it over the Christmas break and thought it was phenomenal. So I don't think it matters that who made the movie. I think people like to see something that resembles their culture
Mm-hmm.
in a movie, no matter what. Now, my argument would be that when I'm not familiar with that culture as much as other people may be. And if I was writing that story, I don't know that I'd feel comfortable with depicting people that I didn't really know about unless I did a shit ton of research.
Well, yeah.
Because I think that when you do something like that, you can make a caricature of someone or another culture, and it would come off stupid and clunky. And
In
I
some
think
ways,
that
I feel
this
like it
kind of
did.
comes off. I kind of feel like it. I kind of feel like it came off as clunky. I mean, I think the story even parallels parallels the culture. You know, there's a whole bunch of people there from outside exploiting the landscape and the sea and everything like that. And which is that's a thing that happens here too. So not only is the kind of like the makeup of the people all too familiar, but the reason for the movie is too familiar also. I don't know, it just kind of pulls me out.
Yeah, I'm surprised right now that some fairies from Fern Gully aren't out here pointing out that there's some cultural appropriation going on here, because
Well,
same thing.
that's one of those things. It's not really up for me to say. I mean, I just kind of found it. I don't know. It's a whole blue alien group of people. It's not, but they have that kind of thing. The culture's kind of put on them, and I don't know. Like, it's so close to other depictions that I've seen in other movies that I don't know how accurate it is to the North American indigenous peoples or the Polynesian indigenous peoples, but I'd say that it's pretty familiar. If he stole the plot of Fern Gully, why couldn't he steal the
Oh
plot
yeah.
points of an entire culture too? So it's a little bit on the nose, and it comes off to me. To me, it comes off as like too familiar, and it doesn't take me to that alien world.
No,
That
I feel
alien
like
kind of.
they could have added, for instance, instead of them just hissing like a cat, they should do something else that's totally alien. That's an Earth thing, that whole hissing thing that they do. Also, that the cry that they do, that's exactly like a native person on Earth, a parody of one. I don't know if it's real or not, but we all know where it comes from. We all get the idea that that's indigenous person about to kill you. On and on. The little things like that that are all from Earth. Maybe just tone them down and make them a little more alien, and everybody would have been happy about that. Like the people that are upset about it. They don't have to be so
Yeah,
blatant. And there is
yeah.
a couple scenes where, for instance, the mother is wandering around killing the shit out of people, and she does seem pretty alien and harsh. And I really appreciated that one section. But
Towards the end,
yeah,
you mean? Yeah. So we get a pretty fucking awesome action sequence at the end of this movie. Like, it had all
yeah,
the James Cameron-y points to it. Like, there was a little bit of the Abyss in there. There was a little bit of Aliens in there. There was a little bit of Terminator in there. Like, it had little bits of everything. And I thought the end of the movie was actually pretty good.
hmm,
When the main characters finally got to do something cool.
yeah, without just talking.
So by the time we get to the end, we're just going to do a brief recap here. Spider, who's been hanging out with his quote unquote dad 2.0, he's hanging out with dad 2.0 for the whole movie. And you kind of get the sense that dad 2.0 is looking at this whole situation, kind of thinking in the back of his head, this is kind of fucked. But then at the end, it turns out that no, he's not that at all. And over this whole course of a 3-hour movie, he hasn't actually had any sort of change in his character whatsoever. He just automatically reverts back to, hey, I'm a giant prick. That's what I came here to do, to prick it. And I'm going to prick it until the cows come home. So we have a big fight at the end. So the whole rest of the movie, and I'm going to get myself in trouble here, Tim, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Modern movies would be much more interesting if we just admitted one thing, and that is that violence solves everything. Because
Yeah.
that is the conceit at the end of this movie. They tried running from their problems. The fucking guy knew it was going to happen. He knew that the Earth guys were going to show up. They showed you how shitty they were for the whole movie. And then finally at the end, when it affects him, now he's got to, get in there and get the fisticuffs going and do some actual fighting. And I think that this movie might have been a little bit more interesting if we admitted that at the start, and that the Earth people were coming here and they were going to wreck the land. They were going to wreck the sea. They were going to kill all the whale dudes that make art and sing songs and paint pictures, whatever the fuck they do. And we got to figure out a way to take them out, but nobody else wants to join us. And we all have to show everybody, you know what I mean? That might have been a more interesting movie than a guy telepathically communicating with a whale that he can't even hook his little tail plug into unless he climbed into his mouth or something. it was just, I don't know what to make of it. I just don't know what to make of it. By the end, you kind of got something cool, but the getting there was just dumb. And I wasn't interested. I almost could have fallen asleep in this movie. And a couple times I did. There's another hackneyed trope that I think shows up. I'm sorry, man. I'm just ranting like a lunatic. I hated this movie so
No,
much.
go ahead.
There was another trope that I found that was just completely stupid. And I got to tell you, the first thought I had in my head after, and especially after this one, was it's the Jesus trope, okay? Like the kid with no father who's got like the superpowers, the wonder powers that are eventually going to come along and do the magic thing to save everybody. And that was like the little Sigourney Weaver character. I can't remember what her name was.
Yeah, they're obviously grooming her to save the entire universe in part 4, right?
Yeah, like she can just kind of telepathically communicate with the whole planet.
For no
which is
reason.
a cool concept. For no reason. Like I don't know. It's just another mysterious. How many people were fucking stuff on this planet and just ran away? Like, where did this kid come from? Like, it's Sigourney Weaver's Avatar kid, but who did that? Because she's like out. She's sleeping.
It's eventually going to come out that her soul basically made her avatar get pregnant, and then she's self-inspired.
Okay,
that's my thought
so that
of what's going to happen.
Okay,
but
so I left this movie, and the first movie that entered my head was Phantom Menace. It's just the Phantom Menace plot. Who's this kid?
Yeah.
Don't know. She can drive a fucking pod racer, though. Woo! A pod whale.
So, let's go sideways here. Do they or do they not have nipples? And if they don't have nipples, why are we covering their chests? If they do have nipples, I don't know. It is something weird about the fact that every single Na'vi female has exactly the same body, too. It's kind of also bizarre.
Well, there are limits to imagination. Now, I'm going to put something in my Google search history that I don't know that I want. Do Na'vi have nipples? Now, I'm going to look and see. Okay, so they do have breasts. They have breasts.
Yeah.
And there's an article where James Cameron explained this on the Huffington Post, which I'm not clicking on. So, well, that's pretty useless. I'm just going to look up Jake Sully. Jake Sully. Now, where's a nice bare-chested picture of Na'vi Jake Sully? Okay, I found one. Okay, he's got nipples.
Okay,
but
well,
he's also got 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold
that's
on.
a good point.
So we're going to get to the bottom of this come hell or high. Okay, I got a picture of another guy standing behind him, and he's not Jake Sully. So he's a... Okay. Well, he's a little bit blurry because he's in the background, but there's definitely a nipple-ish shape there.
So now why would these aliens have nipples? And I don't know. That's always bothered me, is why would they even be that similar to us at all?
Well, there are movies and TV shows where I'm going to mention, okay, this guy definitely doesn't have any nipples. There's nothing on him. There's no nipples.
Well, if they don't have nipples, then why are they covering their chest up? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, this is a Disney movie, Tim. Let's be real here. You just can't have just a bag of flesh walking around out there. It's going to
about the whales?
Give kids all kinds of ideas. I don't know much about. They have to. They nurse their young, so they would.
I guess so. Yeah.
Now I don't know about space whales. I know they've got adrenochrome glands in their head, like a pineal gland, because they're drilling in there to get their.
Mm-hmm.
The conspiracy theorists are probably having a field day with that one. I couldn't believe it was even in there. Now, good God, where are we at with this fucking movie? I don't know.
Okay, here's another thing. I know you have at least 1 or 2 tattoos.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a couple tattoos, and one of the things they told me was So we're going to tattoo you, but you're not allowed to go into the ocean until this thing heals up. Now,
Yeah.
you have a whale with an entire body tattooed. Would it just hang out on the beach until it healed up? I'm just
God, I
asking for
hope
a friend.
not. I noticed the tattooed whales too, and I thought they were cool looking,
Well,
but
yeah, but how
that
do you pull off a
automatically,
tattoo underwater?
well, that puts a little notch in your head thinking, how the fuck did they do that? They don't have, I don't know, maybe they have some sort of ink technology that works underwater that's different from ours, or
Maybe.
I don't
Or
know.
maybe one of the Na'vi lies on top of them. Out, they float upside down or whatever, and they
Yeah.
tattoo the shit out of them, and then they just swim upside down until it heals up, and then they flip over, and then they do the other side.
Yeah, what a fucking boring existence that would be, waiting for your tattoo to
Yeah,
heal so you can get,
can you imagine? Yeah, I've got an appointment for a
you're,
tattoo. It's like a
you're on your
4-dayer.
side like this until that barbed wire under
Yeah,
your armpit just kind of heals up. Like, oh God, I can't. Come on, man, we're going to the store. No, I can't. I gotta just let this tattoo
yeah.
heal. I am shocked that this movie is doing so well.
You know, okay, so our measurement of how movies are doing well or not well is whether or not people go to see it, right? So if you make a big
Yeah,
spectacle of something and people show up to see it, then it's done well. That doesn't mean that it is well or is good. It just means that people went to look to see if it was any good. And the problem is when this many people go to see it, then you have the effect of the crowd, and you think, well, everyone else went to see it, so it must be good. So I'm going to make myself like it. Come hell or high water, I'm going to just love the shit out of this movie because it is so good. It must be. It took how like a decade to make. It's like got to be better than any other movie that only took like a year or two to make. And it's James Cameron. Look at the other movies that he made that are like wonderful. I mean, yeah, Avatar, I kind of forgot that it even existed. And it sure took a long time. And we kept laughing about it, thinking, hey, is this movie out yet? But it's not. But because it took so long, I'm going to just make myself like it. And because everybody else liked it, I'm going to make myself like it. It doesn't matter how, if it's dumb as shit, I'm going to like it no matter what.
I don't know that the time in between was the big. I don't know. It could be because I mean, Titanic. Titanic was a smash hit, and before that, his last movie was True Lies, I believe. And I'm
Hmm.
going to say that there was only really 4 or 5 years in between those two, unless I'm wrong. And between Titanic and Avatar, Titanic was what, 1996, 95, 97? I want to say 1997. And then the new Avatar came out in 2009. So that is, I'm going to say, what is that? That's shit, dude. That's, I'm bad at
Oh,
math,
T2,
Tim. T2 was 92.
90. Yeah.
And he did The Abyss before that. And then he did, after T2 was True Lies. As far as James Cameron movies go, I don't know. Like, I don't think that this was a question of like people just like clamoring for something for a long period of time. This did have a
No,
whole bunch of things going for it that kind of the
boosted
push
it.
the
But
roadblocks
I'm
out
not
of the
saying they're
way.
clamoring for it. I'm just saying the perception is that things that are really difficult and take a long time to make have to be better. You can't make anything good quickly. That is a perception that
Mm,
people have built into their skulls. It's a subconscious assumption about the value of something and how much effort went into it. And if they think about somebody toiling away, making their actors suffer underwater for like a decade long to make this movie, and how hard he worked on the choreography of the digital effects, etc., and they know that he really sunk his soul into this thing, then they think it must be worthwhile.
yeah, I get how people might think that way. I mean, I don't know. I've seen movies that I've been waiting for a long, long time, and they just turn into pieces of shit.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and this is
Yeah,
one
but
of
you
them. I
still
mean,
went. You went and you spent the money though. We all did because to see. So now just to go to see what something is should not be the determiner of whether or not it's any good. But it is.
I'm glad I saw this movie, and I want to make up my own mind and see something before I just decide that
Hmm.
it's a turd, right? Which is a big thing for me. I think a lot of people rely on, well, what does Rotten Tomatoes say? What does the critical drinker say,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
before they go and see a movie. And I'd just rather go watch it myself. And if it's a piece of shit, it's a piece of shit. And I love James Cameron movies. I'm not particularly fond of this one because I just think it's dumb. Like, it's just dumb. The characters do
That's the
dumb
thing.
things.
I wish that since they took so long to make it, that they could have spent more time on the plot. I've come to the conclusion that whether or not a plot is stupid has no bearing on whether or not a movie is successful, though. Because over and over, we get the dumbest movies being successful with just the dumbest ideas in them.
Well, you get stuff like I don't know if you watch all the Fast and Furious movies.
No, I haven't watched any of those.
I'm not a fan of the franchise or whatever, but they're dumb. I've watched one of them by accident, and I had a great time with it because it was dumb, and it just knows it's dumb, and it just was dumb. And
See, that's different though.
here's
It is it's not aiming to be smart. It's not about some other planet where there's a race of, it's not pretending to be smart. Fast and Furious never said, "Hey, this is for intellectuals."
well, that's what I mean.
Science
Like,
fiction in general is supposed to be future thinking and thought provoking, and in general, science fiction is at least supposed to try to have plots that hold together. That's one of the tropes of sci-fi, is that the plot should not be total garbage.
yeah. Well, I
For
agree
instance,
with you on
T2.
this one.
T2 had a plot that was pretty tight. It worked, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things about that movie, is that time travel, you can't just have some stupid plot and make it work.
No, Tim. And you know what? It started with the conceit that violence solves everything. Like,
That's
there is
true.
nobody in that movie at any point in time that goes, we can talk our way out of this.
Yeah.
Even the most reasonable character in that movie, which I'm going to say is probably Miles Dyson, is like, fuck, man, bring the guns. We're going to Skynet.
Yep.
We're gonna, or Cyberdyne or whatever it is. We gotta get this done, right? He knows what's at stake, and he
It's true
knows the
enough.
quickest way to get there. And that's not to say, and I don't want to make any mistake here. I don't think that violence is a reasonable solution to problems. But when you're trying to make a movie where everybody has guns and people are invading a planet, you just might want to give that a forethought. That unless you're going to do some Star Trek thing and show me that, we can reason with everybody and we can talk everyone through this fucked up situation and we can all come out of this prosperous and happy and nobody's going to get hurt in the process, then your movie's about violence. And that's how you're going to use the story to solve the plot. And just don't dick around with the audience. Just tell us that that's what your movie is and do it, because it's more entertaining when you just cut to the chase. Then you can get into the meat and potatoes of the story. And I found that the best part of this story was the last 45 minutes of the climax. And the first 15 minutes when they're like, we got to go get our kids from these marauders and we're going to go and shoot arrows at them and guns and shit like that. And we're going to fucking fight back against them because we don't like them. That was entertaining.
The third time that the kids said, "Hey, let's go do something really dumb that's probably going to get us killed." The third time that the kids did that, I was like, again, really? Like, the first time I could forgive them. Okay, the kids are dumbasses. But they probably learned their lessons, right? And then they did it again. And then again, like, every time that there was a chance to forward the plot by saying, "Hey, kids are stupid and they go do dumb things," that's what they used. That was also annoying.
Well, there's even a point in this movie in the middle of it that I found so frustrating, was that the Sully kids get into a fist fight with the ocean people kids.
The surfing kids, yeah.
Yeah. And one of them comes back a little bit beat up, and Jake Sully looks at him and goes, "Hey, what did the other guy look like?"
Mm-hmm.
There is my thesis right there. Like, we just admitted in the middle of this movie what I've been talking about this whole podcast, Tim.
Yep.
Jake Sully admitted it, but he hasn't followed through with it. I don't think that he was true to that character. I think they changed him into kind of like a different version of it, and I didn't really see a reason why. I guess, he spent 15 years there just chilling out and raising kids and stuff like that. So maybe the fight was all out of him, but I didn't feel like that was explained through the story. It was just kind of dropped.
Yeah.
I just found
At
this
the same time, though,
frustrating.
he was treating his kids like little soldiers.
And he was a dick, and like
Yeah.
his dad skills were awful. His youngest son was a complete piece of shit until he got the other brother killed, and then, oh, okay, now all of a sudden I love you now. I
Yeah.
see what you're all about. I see you. I, another shit depiction of fathers, and
Yeah.
we need those. We need more of those, I guess. We don't. I just found that very frustrating too. And we have two mother characters in this movie that just don't do shit. Kate
Yeah.
Winslet is completely wasted, and Zoe Saldana, the Neytiri, her character, who was great in the first movie, just kind of doesn't do shit in this movie, and
Well,
nobody
all she
just
does, she just reacts to every situation like an animal. There's no thought involved with anything that she does. She's just like, bam, I'm just reacting like an animal. You know what I mean? There's no, she's freaking out, crying, attacking, killing. There's no, it's like there's not a lot of intelligence involved there.
No, and in the first movie, she was very like emotionally intelligent. She was like in control. She was,
Yeah.
kind of commanding of people. She was level-headed. She could be open-minded. She was a whole myriad of things, but she's very one-dimensional in this.
This is what
And
happens when you have children.
yeah, you get a one-track mind, and
Yeah, you
nothing
get,
matters. You just
yeah,
react to every situation
yeah.
in a visceral manner, and
All
damn the
the love has been
consequences,
beat out
right?
of you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just you're a shell of what you once were. There's nothing there but a blue husk,
I guess that's something we have in common with the Navi.
and not only that, but you have to blue yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Are you going to go see? Like, I mean, they've already shot some of the next movie, and it's coming out, I think, in 2020. What fucking year
To
is
be
it?
honest, I wasn't going to
2025 or
go see
something.
this one. I went to see it because we were going to talk about it.
That's well, I went to see it so we could have something to talk about. I wasn't
Yeah.
particularly interested in, and the goodwill that I'm going to have to rebuild with my wife for making her sit through this with me is
Oh,
going to take me some time.
I'm in the same position with that. She's like, really? We have to go watch
Yeah.
this? Okay, fine, if you're making me. But I'm not happy about
I
it, and you better buy popcorn.
I knew it was bad when the truck ride home from the theater felt like she just found another woman's pair of panties in my coat pocket. It was that quiet.
Hmm. Well, we both ripped it apart on the way home, but
She wasn't strangely in odds with this. Okay,
no.
now people come up to me and they're like, "Did you see Avatar?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I fucking loved it." And I'm like, "Really? Holy shit. Are you kidding?" Yeah, I thought it was terrible. And no one, we're the odd people out here. I've heard similar kind of complaints, but people I guess are more overcome by the technical aspect and the visuals of it, which I just that was good, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to make me like it.
Imagine that this is a documentary that you could watch on Netflix in 3D, and it was about the undersea life and the planet, right? It'd be an amazing little documentary. You could look at the undersea plants waving around, and you could like all that stuff is pretty good if you took it as if it was on National Geographic and there was no plot involved, other than the hyenas attacking and Lauren Green in the background saying, he's going to starve tonight. He wasn't very successful that day or whatever. If it was that kind of show, that would be great. If you were just there to look at the scenery, because there was a lot of good scenery, right?
in the 10 years leading up to this, you kind of touched on something there. I know that the great JC was doing all these things underwater and making all these documentaries, which I've never watched. Maybe I should give them a shot, because I think any of them will be more interesting than this, and might even have some of the same visuals that everyone loves so much included in them. Okay.
So what if the people that wouldn't like this movie knew they weren't going to like it, so they didn't go to see it, so they're not complaining about it? Because I talked to
With
3
the
people
amount,
today that will never go to see it. They don't care.
well, yeah, I've heard people say that too. But the same, in the same hand, people are just like, Star Wars is not for me. I'm not fucking going to it
Yeah.
ever. Don't even stop asking me. It's not happening. So with everything, like, I mean, I think some people are smarter than me, and they went and saw the first one and just went, well, that's not for me, but wish it the best of luck. I'm not going to see another one. And I don't know that I'm going to go see another one. I don't know that I got another one in me.
No, there might be a
But
better way to spend 3.5 to 5 hours, however long the next one is.
come on, man. Like, the fucking runtimes of movies nowadays. I've got, it's like, that's another, you're in the theater for three. Thank God we got like sophisticated chairs in our theater now where you can like just recline and lay
Oh,
back.
no, we've got the old school cheap theater seats in Sylvan Lake there.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that fancy.
Yeah. Or there's a couple positives I want to take out of this. Okay. Number one is that I really like supporting my local theater, and I've been to another movie here in the new year, and I plan on going as much as possible. They don't always bring out a whole bunch of stuff that I like, but I realize that my tastes are a little bit different than most people's, but I do intend on seeing as many things there as I can. And the other positive thing I'm going to say is that we have not gotten a really nice copy of James Cameron's The Abyss on any sort of physical media. There was a VHS tape that came out in the mid 90s, and it was a
Hmm.
director's cut. Do you like that movie?
I've watched it probably maybe 10 times.
That's a good
So I
fucking
love
movie.
that movie.
There was a
I pretty
director's
much
cut
got
that
it
came out.
memorized damn near.
Do you? Have you seen the director's cut?
I don't know if I've seen the director's cut, but I've seen it. It used to come on TV once in a while, even at one point, and I saw it probably 3 or 4 times on TV. I went to see it in the theater twice. I remember renting it on DVD, I think, back when there was rental type things.
They have never brought that director's cut back out since this videotape. And I was a fan of the movie too, and I'd seen it on TV. And then I saw this director's cut, and they made a better ending. I don't know why they cut it out in the first place, but it kind of explains why those people are under the water anyway. And it makes sense, and it's got a cool message to it
Mm.
that kind of it's an amazing movie. But they left that out, and you can't find a version of that movie that's a good copy that isn't a VHS tape. So
Mm.
now that this movie's a big success, I think they're bringing The Abyss back out in March, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to buy the shit out of that. I love that movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. I think that's maybe one of his best movies. I'm going to say it's up there with Aliens is like the top one for me. I could have said Terminator, but I think I like Aliens better. I don't know. What's your favorite JC movie?
It's a toss up, probably. Aliens was pretty good too. I've seen that one multiple times. But T2 also seen multiple times.
Yeah, I remember the summer that came out, and I was like pretty hot to see that movie in the theater. It was a great, great day watching that one in a packed theater in Fort Saskatchewan with a really happy house. Like, that was a crowd pleaser of a movie. T2, yeah, I want to say it's up there.
Between those two, those are the most influential movies that he made. Like they have been copied a lot.
Yeah,
So
even in this one, there's lots. Well, Tim, we covered a lot of ground here today. This is one of our longer ones. Go figure. It's talking about one of the longest movies I've ever seen in the theater.
yep. It's a whale of a tale.
It's a whale of a tale. Oh my god. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I really missed that when I'm editing these and I'm putting them together, I always think, shit, I wanted to talk about this and I never did it. But in this instance, I think we really blasted our whole silo at everything that we wanted to. How about you?
Well, there's one more thing about the whales. Okay, so say you're on an alien planet, and one of your thoughts is, I wonder what would happen if we sucked the juice out of a whale brain and then like injected it. Why would you do
Well, who's
that?
the first guy who tried that?
Yeah. Well, first you have to kill the whale. And this isn't a matter of, hey, look, a cool whale. Let's just, it's a one-off. We'll just kill it. They're pretty tough to kill. You have to plan to kill when you got to get special equipment. You probably die a few times. Like a few people are going to die the first time, right? And then eventually you kill a whale, you know, 10 years in after you've developed the equipment and etc. Then you finally kill the whale, and then you're like, the first thing you think is, well, let's go for the brain. That's probably where we'll find the good stuff. So you suck the brain juice out and then you experiment with it. And several years later, you realize that it stopped your aging. Or it could potentially, right? So you experiment a little more and then you're like, we got to ship this to Earth. So then you let the people on Earth know that you need all this special equipment built. Then you build the equipment, ship it over across the intergalactic, gap, which is going to take decades. Finally get the stuff, get a whole bunch of people going, and then you start into your operation of killing whales and dejuicing their brains. And then you got to ship the stuff back to Earth. And this is all like a centuries long endeavor. It's not going to happen in the period of time that Avatar takes place in. In fact, many of the things in Avatar are on a condensed time scale that wouldn't work out. So,
I think that's the thing. They pretty much murdered the world building they put in the first one. Like the first one, they were there and they were still experimenting and finding out what this place was about, and that was part of the wonder. And in this one, there's just like, how the fuck did those whale guys get there? Didn't they kick all the people off the planet? But those guys have still been there for I don't know how long, just figuring out that like whale brain juice is like the best shit ever.
yeah. And how did
And
they get their ship and everything? Did they build it when they got there, or did they have to fire that off of Earth? And like there we get back to the rich people on Earth building all kinds of shit. But
the other thing, I don't know. We could I think I don't want to rehash old
we want
territory,
to.
but just it's just there's a whole lot that when you just start with the world building, I think if you have to ask these kind of questions, or if these questions pop up, they had to have pop up when people are writing the story also.
And they
And
said, "Oh, that doesn't matter."
if they
Right?
did that, then that's dumb because
They
you
they started out with smoking banana peels and they went straight to juicing whale brains.
whale
I don't know.
brains. You know what? I think that is the strangest. I'm not
And the
like
scientist says, "Wow, man, they're probably even more emotionally intelligent than us." And the guy says, "Really?" And he says, "Yeah, they got more neurons and packed more densely than we do. Geez, they're intelligent. Hand me that big hypodermic needle so I can suck the juice out of its brain."
well, this is the sort of thing, right? Like it feeds into my violence theory where we know that there's creatures there that are capable of speech and we can talk to them and reason and they can tell us what they want and we can tell them what we want. And at no point has anyone ever gone to these folks and been like, "Hey, Kate Winslet, what's the deal with these whales here? It seems like they're really cool and they can do all kinds of stuff. One of them has fucking tattoos. Can we drill into their brains? Do you think that'd be a good idea?" Nobody's done that. It just doesn't seem like anyone's done that. They just stopped, got there, and just started drilling whale brains. And
Yeah.
I don't even know
Yeah.
if they had whales there. But they might even just come to the planet going, you know what? They might have whales there. Joe, bring the whale brain drill.
Little do we know that in 150 years from now, they've killed all the whales here and sucked their brains dry. And that's the reason they were
Is
looking for
that
whales.
well? The craziest thing is when you see, to me, when you see, like, I don't know, I like to follow conspiracy theories. I'm not a believer in any of them, but I like to know there are ones out there. And ever since I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, immediately after one of the scenes in the movie where he's licking shit off a little fucking bottle. I don't know if you've seen that movie. And
No.
he's like, "What is this?" And the guy goes, it's adrenochrome. It's right from the gland to someone who's like freshly dead or something like this.
Mhm.
And there's a conspiracy theory about that, this adrenochrome, and that people are stealing adrenochrome from live brains and killing people to get it and stuff like this. And now I see this in the movie. It's like that's where they got that. It had to be. They had to have read that somewhere and just got it. And they just threw it in there. And I'm sitting here going,
Yeah.
holy.
So basic problem is they're working their plot backwards. They don't have a good idea and then build a story out of it. They have a story and they build a good idea out of it.
Yeah. I want to know. Well, they have other writers on this movie. And I don't know that they had. I don't really know who did. If
Maybe
James
they built
Cameron was a
this
one man
plot by
show.
committee. Maybe we're back to the old build a plot by committee problem.
I want to say that it has the hallmarks of that. Because usually either that or it has the hallmarks. I know that when I stayed for enough of the end credits to see that there were more than James Cameron on the writing credits for this movie. So I know that there was other people involved. And usually when you write a movie, when someone writes a movie and then it gets to the screen, there's a myriad of people that come in there. It used to be maybe just one or two, but now there are several, and it goes through several drafts, and whoever works on a draft gets a credit for it, right? So,
Mhm.
whatever, there were other people here. So I imagine that other ideas besides James Cameron's got interjected into this, and he must have okayed them because I think he's the sensei behind every movie that he works on. He has final say. He's powerful enough that he can do that. But
So I've just thought, story writing wise, right? I've been waiting for the King Killer Chronicles book 3. And there's kind of a parallel here because the first book was released in 2007 and then 2011, right? They sold like over 10 million copies or whatever, and we're still waiting for number 3. Now the thing with his books is they're tightly wove, and he has a bunch of people, what's the word? His test audience of people. But anyways, his thing is the plot has to work, period, and it can't have a whole bunch of stupid flaws in it. And I'm going to take as long as I need to make sure the story actually makes sense and isn't stupid before I release it. Doesn't matter if it takes like a decade, which it has, right? And we're all eagerly awaiting this last book because he's a craftsman and he doesn't want to release garbage. And
yeah,
then we have the opposite here, story-wise.
I think so.
They just like kick garbage out the door, like, fuck it, we're done with this thing.
Yep, shoot it. Put it in the can. It's troubling because I went to see another movie this weekend called Megan, or last weekend, sorry, called Megan. And when I watched Megan, I could tell that the screenplay for it was pretty tight. It had a good story. It made sense. All the plot points made sense. It had a message, a socially conscious message that was something to say about a particular topic, a different topic, but one that people are concerned about. It carried it out in a way I found interesting. And I could tell when I watched the movie that there was maybe stuff that they removed from the movie in editing to maybe just kind of cut it down to a more palatable PG rating. Because I told a guy there's not really any gore. I told someone that they could most likely take their kids to it. There's maybe a couple dirty words in there. For the most part, it's like a little bit intense, but if I was the 10-year-old watching it, there was nothing in there that would really, really do me. And there's not a whole lot of jump scares. But
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie there had a lot of tight writing, and all the points to the story made sense. It did some funny stuff that entertained me. And they spent nowhere near the amount of money or time on it that they did this. Now, I know that they're different movies. I realize that. But it's just, I don't know. I just don't feel like I got a good value of time versus
Yeah, they spent all their
effort.
craftsmanship on the technical aspects, the filming, and the sets, basically, the digital sets,
Yeah.
and less
So
time on the story.
one of the things that I really like about movie making is when they do these big technological leaps and advances. And if it's good enough, people go back to the movie just to see what they did. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that the theater I saw this one in, this movie was shot and formatted for IMAX, so you can go see it in an IMAX theater. And then they shot it at double the frame rate. So the same as the Hobbit movies there. And
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that you can go see it at the 48 frames per second, and it looks absolutely insane. And you know what? If I would have watched this movie at the local theater here that doesn't have all the high end shit, I maybe would have gone to the theater in one of the cities and thought, well, I got to see this, but I don't give a shit. I never want to see this movie again. Not ever. I think if it's on TV, I'll change the channel. I think if someone was playing it at a party, I'd leave the party and I'd go to a bar where they were playing the menu.
I agree. Okay, what's your rating for this movie?
I am going to give it 7 whale brain drills out of 20.
7 out of 20. Okay, that's pretty close to where I'd be at. I think I'm about 43 out of 127.5.
43 out of 127.5. Mm-hmm. That's pretty low. I don't know the math on that. I don't have a calculator, and I'm too stupid to do math in my head. So I'm just going to have to say that that's like abysmal. That's the
It's like
abyss of
38%, I
movies.
think. I think it's
Oh, that's
approximately
rough.
38%.
I don't even know what I just gave. 7 out of 16, I said? I don't know what that is. I can't do
7 out
math.
of 20.
7 out of 20.
You
That's
said
even
7 out of
worse.
20. We're roughly in the same zone, actually. 30 to
Yeah.
40% range.
Yeah. I think anything that I did like about
So,
it took place in the last 25 minutes. And even that was kind of dodgy.
yeah.
But anyway, poor Avatar. It's taken a couple of schlubs like us to punch it right in the blue belly a bunch of times. And
Meanwhile, everybody just continues on loving it.
like, yeah, I don't know. If this was like a smaller market movie, it'd feel like we were really punching down. But I really I feel like this podcast
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, Tim, is like David versus Goliath.
Probably lower
I
because we
was,
don't have God on our side. So,
yeah.
or do
Did I
we? I
ever
don't
tell you
know.
about when I was working at a specific place in the early 2000s, and James Cameron came to my work.
Hmm. Really?
He hung out. He did a little foot tour for the day. I was on night shift, so I didn't see him. And then he flew around where I was working on a helicopter and said, "Yeah, you guys are doing a nice job here." And then and then he went on TV and told us that we were fucking horrible and we were should all be shot out a whale's ass or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was
Should all be used as whale fodder.
but he's entitled to his opinion. I still like him. I mean, he made the Abyss and T2. Jesus. And Aliens
Yeah. And he
and
gave
Piranha
the
3D.
Na'vi nipples. Probably.
That's a jury's still out on that one, Tim. I'm looking at an upshot of a guy standing right underneath an unobtainium rock right now, and I'm not seeing any nipples. There is another
And that's the
picture
other
on
thing
this.
is we never even talked about the unobtainium and how suddenly, mysteriously, they no longer need the magic rocks that they
Oh,
wanted
they
so
could give a
bad in the
shit
first
about
one.
that. Oh my
Yeah.
God, we're going down another wormhole.
No, we better not do that.
No, I just think nothing matters in this movie. Doesn't matter. What happened last movie? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Ask Spider, he knows.
Well, by next movie, when they're fighting the volcano Na'vi, it'll be all great.
Yeah, I heard that they're gonna have like a meaner Navi, and I don't know what that means. Maybe they'll. I think if we're gonna repeat Earth's history in this movie and just have a bunch of tropes of different kinds of people that live on Earth in this movie and rehash everything, maybe there's an interesting way of making that. Maybe there's a group of bad Navi out there that are like colonialists or something like that. And they just want to take over everything and they don't give a shit. They're just like they'll team up with the people and be like, the people will be like, well, we burned down 3,000 hectares of forest today, and there's an evil Navi going, fuck yeah, bro. Good job.
Yeah,
we
want some
we were
magic
going to do
rocks?
that, but you beat
Yeah.
it. You beat us to it.
Just let us know and we'll get you some magic rocks and some whale brain juice.
Yeah, here, sniff
Yeah.
this juice. Okay, well,
Okay.
on that note,
Yep.
I was gonna end it on the positive note with the abyss and whatever else we were talking about, but it
Oh, the Abyss.
didn't.
Good. What's your rating on the Abyss?
Oh, the abyss is. I'm gonna say 9 Ed Harris toupees out of 10.
9 out of 10. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a big watch for me.
I'd probably say 21 out of 27.
Oh shit, that's pretty good. That's right up there. This was not the abyss.
No.
Anyhow, Tim, I don't know. I think we've
Yep.
beaten this
We've
tattooed whale for
eviscerated
all
it.
it's worth. We've
Yeah.
eviscerated it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next
Okay.
time, which is going to be Tuesday, we're going to have a couple quick ones here. So thanks for getting on and chatting with us. And dude, it's been a slice.
Yeah. It's been a slice.
We'll talk later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're not in Kansas anymore.
Please welcome Golden Globe winner and Governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wondering why I'm introducing Avatar.